these considerations of these ashrayas, they arise spontaneously in the consciousness of fortunate souls upon the appearance of the disposition for spiritual service of the divinity. We have no other function. The jiva has no other function than the service of Sri Guru. So that is quite an important point of discussion, because sometimes we see that those who are, I guess you could say, better known as Gopi Bhavakas, they tend to try to cram the Madhurya Ras down everybody's throat without, let's say, having any consideration for the fact that different devotees may be having different spiritual dispositions. That was one of the main faults, that Prabhupada saw in the Gopi Baba club. In one conversation, he was saying, "What's wrong with Nandi Yasoda? What's wrong with, Subal? Why only this? As if this is the only thing that our Sampradaya is offering." But it should be noted that this is the highest thing that our Sampradaya is offering. It's not that, we slight as if we're, say, boycotting the highest esteemed, sarup of our Sampradaya. But rather, sometimes it is shown just to help the devotees to appreciate that they can get the highest thing at the feet of our Guru Parampara. If that is not shown, then there may be some discrepancy on our part in the matter of, let's say, the followers losing faith and going hither and thither to, let's say, fulfill their spiritual aspirations in various ways. So, when we hear these things, we should hear them as if they're special messages. At least it's a good thing. To hear them as if the Acharya is presenting them, that is also good. But you can also hear them as if they're special messages, coming from the disguised form of Srimati Manimanjari, who wants to enlighten us about, our progress to the perfection of our Krishna consciousness. I was going to read some from there's a really great lecture given by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. What is it? Yeah? Huh? No, this is not the time for that. Thank you. No, because then we only have a half hour left, and I want you to hear more from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So here's an answer, a very nice answer to a question. So I'll pose the question and then we'll give the answer, because just to save time and so to keep it in line with our course of discussion as well. sometimes we hear that at Radha-Kunda, Bhaktisiddhanta lectured on, what was it? Was it Ishopanasad or? Huh? Ishopanasad, right? He lectured on Ishopanasad. And all the Babajis, they became a little nonplussed, so to speak. Because they thought that here is a great, highly elevated Mahabhagavad Rasik Vaishnava, Acharya, in the Gaudiya Sampradaya. We should be able to get some nectar from this man. But instead, just to kind of put them in their place, which was Bhaktisiddhanta's style, which sometimes they didn't like, as we previously discussed. He did like that. He simply lectured on Sri Ishopanasad. But that may be true, it is true, but there's something more, please. And this will be revealed in these words of Bhaktisiddhanta, which is an excerpt from a lecture delivered at Radha-Kunda during his Brajmandal Parikram in 1932. And it was printed in the Gaudiya in 1934. So, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati says here, all these days we have not spoken about Lila. So this will help to clarify, because this is it's a very important thing to understand this also about what Bhaktisiddhanta wanted to express to us. Here he is, he has been speaking about Ishopanasad, on and on and on, ad infinitum, Sambandha Tattva Gyan and all these things. And so as to smash all the discrepant behaviors of various people who claim to be Rasik Vaishnavas, etc. But now he's going to enter into something which we should all very, very carefully note. Why? All these days I have not spoken about Lila. Why? Because, this is why. Because this is our most confidential asset. This is our only sadhya. But one should not make the mistake of thinking that anartha-nivritti is the prayojana. Anartha-nivritti is not the goal, in other words, what he's saying. Anartha-nivritti is an indirect means to the goal. Anartha-nivritti in of itself is also not the direct means to the goal. So he will explain. One thinking like this will never enter into artha-pravritti. For this reason, this is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, during the same group of lectures, please, I will begin speaking about asta-kaliya-lila. Please, don't think that he never spoke. He spent so much time until all those who perhaps lacked the sincerity drifted away. Then he began speaking. For this reason, he says, one thinking like this, that anartha-nivritti is our only business, our only goal of life is to become freed from our anarthas. One who makes that as the goal of his life, he will never enter into artha-pravritti. For this reason, I will begin speaking about asta-kaliya-lila. I know that you are not ready to hear it. Listen to him. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is telling, I know that you're not ready to hear it. Still, for this reason, I will begin to speak about asta-kaliya-lila, even though you're not ready to hear it. But we should know such a transcendental idea exists within the realm of devotion. This is why anartha-nivritti is essential. After the realm of anartha-nivritti is artha-pravritti, pure conjugal service to Radha and Krishna. This is transcendental reality. If we do not know of this transcendental realm, then all of our efforts may end in nirvisheshvad. You know what is nirvisheshvad? Impersonalism. If we do not know of this realm, if we do not know of the asta-kaliya-lilas of Radha and Krishna, if we do not know of the pure conjugal service to Radha and Krishna, if we do not know this transcendental reality, then all of our efforts may end in nirvisheshvad. Do not let your days pass in trying for anartha-nivritti. Do not let your days pass in trying for anartha-nivritti. Artha-pravritti is also necessary. Anartha-nivritti is necessary until artha-pravritti has not perfected. But what is the word he uses? Until artha-pravritti has started. Not until it is finished. Anartha-nivritti is necessary until artha-pravritti has started. When artha-pravritti is present, then anartha-nivritti becomes unimportant. Artha-pravritti becomes prominent. So this goes along with the previous discussion that we had concerning the importance and the, you can say, necessity, the gradual distinction, or the necessity of the gradual involvement, in the gradual involvement of our bhajan to simultaneously, let's say, not slacken our anartha-nivritti, but it becomes less important as the artha-pravritti becomes more important, more prominent. In other words, the indirect program of anartha-nivritti, as per hearing of the pastimes of Krishna with the demons, killing the demons, etc., that becomes less prominent, and as we make advancement, to the perfectional stage, ruchi, asakti, bhav, then the nishta, starting with nishtata bhajan, then the direct process of hearing about Krishna's nitya-lilas becomes more and more prominent. Those who have chanted Harinam for 15 or 20 years should know such things. The beginners need not hear these topics, or they may misunderstand. But those who've been chanting for 15 or 20 years, they must hear, they must know. These topics are for certain audiences, not for all. Also, it is said, apana bhajana katha na kahibe jata tata. One should not reveal one's bhajan here and there to everyone, anyone and everyone. If we disregard this instruction of our previous acharyas, then there may be a permanent fall from the realm of devotion. By removing the clothes of the gopis, Krishna obtained happiness. This is Krishna's sense gratification. We cannot ask, why is he a sense enjoyer? Let us see Krishna display the behavior of controlling his senses. Krishna will not become a slave to our desires. Krishna, by his own will, can show us sense restraint, and did so in his form as Gaurasundar. He showed the highest degree of renunciation when he accepted the renounced order of sannyas. He wouldn't let women come even within 50 feet to offer obeisances. In his previous, he was dancing, in Ras, etc. But as Gaurasundara, as Mahaprabhu, he demonstrated to the world that you think I'm a devotee, but just see. Can you do this? By that example, he is informing us that no one except Krishna has the right to remove the clothes of the gopis. Our duty is to cultivate devotional service. Do not think that asta-kaliya-lila smaran is the property of the sahajiyas. Actually, it is our affair. It has to be retrieved from the hands of the sahajiyas. Our Sri Guru Padma heard these things from Srila Bhaktisidhanta Thakur. That is why he used to tell us various confidential things. We have heard the last instructions from our Sri Gurudev, Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj. He said, living in Radha-Kunda would be pleasant if you, Bhaktisiddhanta, can deliver it from the hands of 11 immoral men. That is what Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Now Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati continues. Now, perhaps 11 has increased to 108. And our humble selves may add that now 108 has perhaps increased to 1008. So anyway, I'm just going to read the first paragraph or so of of Bhaktisiddhanta's own speech on his own Vyas Puja Day, because it's extremely beautiful and very powerful. Maybe 2 paragraphs or so. Let's see. And then I want to read something also from an essay by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, just a few paragraphs, called What is Gaudiya Math Doing? I hope we have time. This is Bhaktisiddhanta speaking at his Vyas Puja. We have taken upon ourselves the responsibility of welcoming this grave charge. Everyone in the audience has accepted an ordinary seat. I alone have been provided with a lofty sitting place. Everyone is being told, in effect, quote, do have a look at a big animal from the zoo gardens. What arrogance! So foolish! So wicked! Have you ever seen such a big brute? Garlands of flowers have been put around his neck. What laudations! What bombastic, long-drawn, and hyperbolic adjectives! And how complacently, too, he is listening to the praise of his own achievements. How intently and with his own ears. He also evidently feels delighted in mind. Is he not acting in plain violation of the teachings of Mahaprabhu? Can such a big brute, so selfish and insolent, ever be reclaimed from such brutishness? I happen to be one of the greatest of fools. No one offers me good advice on account of my arrogance. Inasmuch as nobody condescends to instruct me, I place my case before Mahaprabhu himself. The thought occurred to me that I would make over the charge of myself to him and see what he would advise me to do in the matter of accepting Guru Puja or Vyas Puja. Then Sri Chaitanya Dev said to me, whosoever you meet, instruct him regarding Krishna. By my command, be Guru, deliver this land. In this you will not be obstructed by the current of the world. You will have my company again at this place. In these verses, it is to be found the proper explanation of the apparent inconsistency noticed above. He whose only teaching is humility, greater even than a blade of grass, said, by my command, be Guru, save this land, deliver the people from their foolishness. Now whomsoever would happen to hear these words would naturally protest with folded palms joined. But I'm really a great sinner. How can I be Guru? You are Godhead himself, the teacher of the world. Only you can be Guru. To which Mahaprabhu replies, in this you will not be obstructed by the current of the world. You will have my company again at this place. Therefore, in this case, in telling others about Krishna, there's no risk of forgetting him. So anyway, that's what I'm going to read from that one, because there's only a few minutes left. And I want to read this. But you can understand the drift. Who has right to be Guru is he who is 100% surrendered. Oh, there's one other thing. Who has right to be Guru should also be taken into consideration here. This is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's instructions regarding the matter of Nam initiation. Only the Mahabhagavat, Sri Gurudev, is able to give the name of Sri Krishna, which is not different, non-different from Krishna. Nama Chintamani Krishnasya Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto Binatvan Nama Namino. Sri Krishna's name is directly Sri Krishna. It is a spiritual, transcendental object full of liquid mellowness. The divine name arises or manifests itself upon the tongue of someone who is favorable towards devotional service. So one might ask this question at this point, interjecting, how favorable is favorable? How favorable does favorable have to be before favorable is considered favorable enough? The glorification, kirtan, fraught with spiritual offenses to the divine name, done by those who are inclined toward enjoyment, bhukti, or renunciation, mukti, is not the pure divine name. The pure divine name, Shuddhanam, and the stage of offenses to the divine name, Namaparad, are not the same. The Mahabhagavat, who is free from spiritual offenses to the divine name, and who takes shelter in the glorification of the pure name, is alone fit to bestow the name of Sri Krishna. Just in case anyone was wondering. Of course, that can be explained a little bit, that there are three classes of Mahabhagavats, and not all of them are at the stage of sadhya, or the outcome of their devotional practices. There's one class. One class has 2 feet in the spiritual world, extending his hand to the material world. He's the Nityasiddha avatar coming from the spiritual world to pull people up to that position. That is the highest order of Mahabhagavat. The second order is one who has his 1 foot in the spiritual world, 1 foot in the material world. That means he's attained perfection. Means Sarup Siddhi. He's realized his Sthai Bhav. He's a Bhavuka or Premi Bhakta. And then the third type of Mahabhagavat, he can be called as the devotee who has attained the stage of asakti or ruchi. He has the pure name, because Shuddhanam comes at the stage of ruchi. But he still may have some residues of attachment to the mode of goodness, as was the case of Narada in his previous life as the son of a maidservant. He's the example given in the Sandarbhas as such a Mahabhagavat. In Kali Yuga, there is no other dharma except uttering the name of Krishna. Taking the name in whatever place, whether eating or sleeping, irrespective of time, place, or person, all is fulfilled. Whomsoever thou meets, instruct him about Krishna by my command, be Guru, and save this land. There is no other dharma of the jivas except kirtan, singing the names of God. To the extent that one disbelieves in bhakti, to the extent, so mind you, there are degrees of faith and disbelief. To the extent that one disbelieves in bhakti as denoted by kirtan of the holy name, in other words, those who think that all wants cannot be fulfilled by doing Harinam Sankirtan, to that extent, such people are Nastik or atheistic. The degree of help one gives to the propagation of bhakti, as denoted by kirtan of the holy name, is the sole measure of one's belief in God. On the other hand, a man is a Nastik or disbeliever to the extent that he obstructs kirtan. As the name has to be taken at every moment while eating or sleeping, as bhakti denoted by kirtan of the holy name is the only dharma of the jiva, as there is no other dharma except this, where is the time for getting rid of flood or famine or founding hospitals? Those who claiming to be positivist means materialistic positivist. They think they have a positive outlook on the world, are forgetful of the greatest of all facts, that is death. Those who being fallen like the blind man led by the blind under the spell of the enchantress loiter about like travelers without an objective. It is such people that have time for work other than Hari Kirtan, singing the names of Krishna. All other efforts, with the exception of Hari Kirtan, are the cause of samsara, or bondage to this cycle of repeated birth and death. The road leading not to the east, but in the opposite direction. On the other hand, all-time Hari Kirtan is turning away from every other direction to face the east, or journey homeward. Gaudiya Math, or as we can replace Gaudiya Math with ISKCON, so we can see that it does also apply to us, doesn't it? Okay? So, the Gaudiya Math is the missionary of this all-time kirtan. The Gaudiya Math begs every one of us to offer his all to Krishna. The Dhoom Dham, or pomp and display, mind you, of nice temple, etc., of the Gaudiya Math, or ISKCON, is for the sole purpose of making all efforts of the world Krishna-para, having Krishna as their goal. The offering to Krishna comes first, and after the offering has been made, bhakti begins. The Gaudiya Math says, make the offering to Krishna first, and after that has been done, profess to be a bhakta, or a devotee. The Gaudiya Math says, do not imitate the kirtankari, means one who does kirtan. Dang means burlesque. Do you know what is burlesque? Burlesque means striptease, where a lady gradually taking off one garment after another to entice the minds of lusty types of men of this world. So, dang, burlesque, is the other name of anukaran, or to imitate the activities of the kirtankari without following the principles of the kirtankari. By array of oneself in the trappings of dang or shang, harlequin is a clown, I think, isn't it? Huh? Like a court jester or something like that. Anyhow, people can be deceived. In other words, by putting on the trappings, by show bottle devotion, people can be deceived, but no good is done either to oneself or to others. It is those who follow the kirtankari that are really their own benefactors, or properly alive to the self-interest, and also benefactors of others, or mindful of others' interest. They are not blinded by considerations of undue personal advantage, nor do they cheat others, and are therefore truly disinterested. It is by kirtan alone that the claims of self-interest, interest in others, and disinterestedness are simultaneously satisfied. So we'll stop there. Hare Krishna. Is that understood? Something, please? Thank you. By kirtan alone, one can claim to be interested in his own welfare, interested in the welfare of others, and truly disinterested in the trappings, or you can say the facilities of this material cosmic manifestation, which are meant for Krishna's pleasure. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai.